Hi, kindergartners. We are going to read the fourth and final book in our text set called Sharing the Earth Animals. So I want to remind you of the three books that we already read. We read the book Rain, and that was about animals on the savannah. And it also talked about the importance of the rainy, wet season on the savannah and how important that water is to the animals and plants. Then we read Actual Size by Steve Jenkins. And in this book, we got to learn some information about the actual sizes, the real sizes of some different animals. And the third book we read is called Elephants Swim. So remember, this book talked about some different ways that animals move in and around water. Today, we're going to read a book called Every Autumn Comes the Bear by Jim Arnosky. So, when we're reading Every Autumn Comes the Bear, I want you to really think about the setting in the book. In this book, the setting is really important to help us understand what's going on in the book. So, remember, the setting is where a book or a story is happening, but it's also when a book or story is happening. And in this case, the when is very important. So I want you to really pay attention to where and when this story is happening. And I want you to look really closely at the illustrations when I show them to you, because your writing activity for today is going to be to draw a really detailed picture that shows the setting of this story. So make sure you're really paying attention to what that looks like in Jim Arnosky's illustrations. Every autumn comes the bear. There is a wooded hill behind our farm. A wooded hill. Think about what you think that means. I know you know what a hill is, but what's a wooded hill? Maybe there's some picture clues that help. I see a lot of things sticking up, trees, and trees are wood, so that makes it a wooded hill. It is a wild and rugged place with as many rocks as trees. Every autumn, after the leaves have fallen, a bear shows up. Let's think about that for a minute. The word autumn is the word for a season, and it means the same thing as fall. So, we have 4 seasons, and autumn is one of those seasons. In this part of the book, the leaves have already fallen, and the trees are bare, just bare branches. So, do you think this is the beginning part of autumn or closer to the end of autumn? What do you think? I'm thinking about autumn, and at the beginning of autumn, I know that the leaves are on the trees and they're changing to all of those beautiful colors. And then we get to enjoy the trees filled with beautiful, colorful leaves for a while. And then toward the end of autumn, when it's closer to winter, that's when the leaves fall off the trees. So I think that it's toward the end of autumn. He walks out on the cliff where the ravens perch. He growls into the bobcat's lair. The bear follows every trail just to see where each trail leads. Let's remind you to pay attention to the setting. What do you see in this picture that helps us to know where and when this book is happening? Notice those details. He drinks cold water from the spring. And claws a tall, straight tree. The other animals hide from the bear, but he knows they are there. He smells the scent of fox. Some animals have such a good sense of smell that they can tell with their nose what is around them. So the bear can smell the scent of the fox, and he knows that that fox is there. I also noticed something. I don't know if you can see very well, but did you notice what's happening with the weather? Do you see those tiny white spots? It's snowing. He hears a grouse bursting into flight. When the hill is white with snow, the bear climbs the highest rock. He looks out over all the treetops. Then, searching amid the hilltop boulders, he finds a den and crawls inside. I bet you know why he's crawling inside that den. We spent some time earlier this year talking about bears and learning about what bears do in the season that comes after autumn. The season after autumn is winter, and we know that bears sleep during the winter. Nestled there against cold rock, with only fat and fur to keep him warm. He sleeps all winter long. So, kindergartners, in this book, Jim Arnowski told us a lot about the setting. He told us with words, and he also told us in his pictures about the setting. So, he included things in the picture to show where the story was happening and when the story was happening. So I want you to think about those things that Jim included in the pictures and told us about in the words. And when you go over to your Write About Reading activity, I'm going to be asking you to draw a really nice picture that shows the setting. So you might think about things that Jim said about a wooded hill with as many rocks as trees. And Jim talked about the leaves had fallen from the trees. So the trees were bare and the leaves were where? On the ground. There were some evergreen trees that I noticed as well. We know those evergreen trees, they don't lose their leaves. They stay green all the time. I'm going to see if I can find a picture and show you. Let's see. I know there's, so you can see here in the background, there are some evergreen trees, but the other trees don't have any leaves on them. So the where the story happened would include those things. How about the when the story happened? Oh, I guess we already talked about the leaves on the ground and the bare trees. Would that tell us when the story happened? I think so. If I see bare trees and some colorful leaves on the ground, I know that it must be fall. It must be autumn. So, anyway, go on over to the Write About Reading activity and listen to the directions to find out what to do for your activity today. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.